Hey everyone, Dewan here again. Um, Thanks for tuning in this time, since I know the last video might have made a few of you a little queasy, but hopefully in a good way. Today I just want to talk about the last few days of training and the swearing in ceremony. So the last few days of training, again, it's a culmination of 3 months of pretty stressful events. You know, you've got to deal with hot weather, mosquitoes, a new environment, new languages, tons of new people every day. You can't really take any day off as a Peace Corps volunteer trainee. Um, but at the end, when you get to that finish line, you're like, wow, I made it. And you know, it gives you a little bit of hope that you can do it. It just because you did training day by day, you can do your service day by day. Um, I really appreciated the end of training, just some of the ceremonies. We got to do closing out ceremony in Dubreka with our host families, and it was really cool because they got all of our host families together. We got to eat together one last time, and you had to exchange gifts for your host family. I got my host dad and my host mom some nice cloth from the market just so they can make some cool clothes. I got them also a nice candle, and my parents sent me a nicer candle. Just, I don't know, it was something simple and easy. Maybe I should have got something else, but that's what I got them. And they appreciated those gifts. You know, they had really taken me in, tried to make me feel welcome, make sure that I was eating well. Though that was still something that could have been worked on. So it was a really cool moment. Our director said some final words in French, and then we had Peace Corps volunteers say final goodbyes in French, Pular, Susu, Mlinke, and yeah, I think that was it. Just the main local languages. So it was just a very special moment because the host families were hearing things in their languages, and like, you know, they were being told that like we couldn't have been there without their support, and it was, again, they felt appreciated. My host family broke into tears when I got on the bus to leave Dubreka because we had to go do our final closing ceremony in Conakry. And part of it was just because, you know, they didn't think they'd see me again. And the tough part is they're right. They actually never saw me again or haven't seen me yet because I never had a legitimate reason to go back to Dubreka in terms of, like, I didn't have a work task. I wasn't helping out with training. I was always stuck in the Fuda region, just in the mountains, doing a lot of work there. And so I never had a real reason to go. The only reason would have been to have seen them. But even then, that might have been a little bit tough with just some of the logistics, planning to make sure they were there. They were, you know, they weren't the most connected people. And my own host brother actually moved to Conakry right after I left to go to high school, or high school, college. So he was the only one that spoke French, and he's the only one that I really communicated with from time to time. So it was sad, seeing them cry, and just thanking them. But um, it's it's just what happened, and it was just a special moment, sure. So we went to Conakry, and the idea was to stay in Conakry a few days, get our final goods, get a little stove that was a little expensive, um, a gas stove, um, get whatever supplies we thought we would need for our kitchens, any Western things like Western rice or flour or honey, just things to make our lives a little bit easier when we went to our sites and villages and across Guinea. I know I had a huge list, and I just wanted to make sure that I had everything that I thought I would need, and that I couldn't get um, in Mamu or in my village. It was supposed to be like a pretty few fun days because you're with all the other volunteers, and you're hanging out every day. You're making American food every day at the Peace Corps compound, taking hot showers at the Peace Corps compound, and you're also inspiring and motivating others too. Unfortunately, we did have one incident where one of the volunteers, she went out with another, just to the market. They were 30 seconds gone from the compound, and a random dude grabbed one of the volunteers. I didn't see it, and I didn't really hear the description of what happened well enough, but um, she felt assaulted and immediately came back, um, completely upset. Both of them were just totally upset for having gone through that in such a quick time, and it was just 1 minute, really from happy leaving the compound to what the fuck just happened. And I remember she called her dad, who lived in New York, and he was listening and just talking to her, and she was really upset. And he told her that, yeah, a dude grabbed you, and that happens all the time, not just in Guinea, but in New York City, in Los Angeles, in London, where you, for some reason, some random dude grabs a woman, and he was just trying to console her, saying how this it sucks that it happened, but not to lose sight of what you wanted to do, and he was just trying to encourage her, and that's what we were trying to do too, just say like trying to make sure that she was okay and like whatever comfort we could give her, and also to the other volunteer who felt that she had been powerless, I guess, to have stopped this guy from grabbing the other from behind. Um, and that's just experience that was traumatic for both of them in a little bit of a sense. Luckily, fortunately they decided to stay. Neither of them were going to quit at that time. That's what they said. They're just going to keep going. So our ceremony was really cool. Uh, we had a group from Dubreka. It was actually my host brother was in it, my one of my little host brothers, and they got to play the drums. They were dancing, waving really nice instruments, and then they were just really well dressed. A few volunteers actually were in the group, dancing and playing the drums with them, and I was a little jealous. I was like, dang, I should have joined with that. But they were just having a really good time, a lot of fun, and we kind of did a repeat of the ceremony that we did in Dubreka, where a few volunteers spoke in French, Pular, Malike, Susu, and actually one of the volunteer who spoke in French was the one who had been grabbed, and it was just a lot of admiration for her, for still staying and being strong in that moment. The weird thing was the ambassador to Guinea. I don't remember her name. I could probably look it up, but it's not important. She starts going off into this story. And it's just, again, a story meant to say, you guys are Peace Corps volunteers, you're so strong, you're going to do this. But this is where she was drawing the story from. She had a friend who had been an Iranian hostage. Back in the day, during President, was it Carter? Um, he had been an Iranian hostage and also a Peace Corps volunteer. And she was saying in the conversations with him, like, what were the hardest moments of your life? And he was like, well, it wasn't being an Iranian hostage, it was being a Peace Corps volunteer. And so all of us were hearing this and like trying to interpret what she was saying. And it was like, wait a minute. Did this woman just say that it's harder to be a Peace Corps volunteer than it is to be an Iranian hostage? Yeah, she did. And so I don't know. I mean, my reaction at the time, I was with Juliet, one of my good friends, and we were just looking at each other like, what in the world? Um, anyways, so that ceremony was cool. We got sworn in, swore to be great Peace Corps volunteers, and then we went to the beach, went swimming afterwards. Not in the ocean water. We went swimming at the director's house. So yeah, don't go swimming in that water. You'll regret it. Trust me. And we realized that we had to say just a few goodbyes, I suppose. The Peace Corps volunteers, we were going to leave in separate vehicles. The volunteers who lived in the the volunteers who lived in the Basque region were going to go, I think, directly to their sites, whereas the ones who lived in the Mama region, we were going to go to the regional capitals. No, yeah, we went to like just a major city together, maybe spent the night, and then went to our site. And this is where it gets like really teary. People are crying because they nobody knows when they'll see each other again. It's part of that same thing that was going on in Dubreka. It's like, wow, we're not supposed to go to our regional capitals for a month. So we're not going to see any other volunteers. We're not supposed to um, go to our capital for 3 months. So again, you won't see other volunteers in other regions. All we have to connect were phones. And given that our sites were in villages and mountains, there wasn't really a lot of great service. So people were upset. And, we just having to exchange a lot of hugs, saying like, hey, we can do this. This is like it. We're going to get through this together. We're going to be great. Um, we're just trying to motivate each other. And I think something that I really appreciate was that the volunteer who had been at my site before me was there. And he gave me a gift that he found in the office, and it was the work journal of previous volunteers at Dubreka at my site. And if there's one great takeaway that you can take from at least this video, is have a work journal and have a personal journal and write in them as much as possible, because you never realize how great those are as tools. And as a Peace Corps volunteer, your job is to give people tools and so that they can succeed. Make a cycle sustainable. And that's what I felt like I was getting when I got that journal. I was like, wow, somebody was thinking ahead, thinking about me, and here's a tool that I can hopefully use for my success. All right. So that was basically the end of training and just the closing out ceremonies, or the swearing out ceremonies. Sorry, I'm a little frazzled. um, yeah. Thanks, guys. I will see you again some other time. All right. Peace.